Yeah. I don't know. I think it's too good of a matchup for Winnipeg too to not go in.
Yeah. Even if Wheeler is dust, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, Dubois and Connor can drag him along. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, whenever or wherever you're watching or listening. This is the Awesemo NHL DFS Strategy Show, and I am your host, Michael Clifford, aka Slim Cliffy. Joining me today to hop into the Warner Brothers metaverse and beat up Winnie the Pooh, our single entry assassin, Mr. Joshua Harris. Josh, how you doing today, buddy?
Doing pretty good. This is one of the tougher weeks for hockey in terms of game, like scheduling. It's like 2-15, 217, 3. So like there isn't another one like this until January, which is nice. So we'll actually have some mid-sized slates where we can talk for more than 12 seconds.
Yeah, exactly. The thing with my lead-in, I saw a tweet earlier. Warner Brothers is releasing a video game like Super Smash Brothers, but with Warner Brothers characters. So like you'll be like Superman just beating the hell out of Bugs Bunny or something like that. Like I'm actually kind of looking forward to that. I think it'd be pretty good. But we have hockey we have to talk about here today. Before we get too much further, just want to thank Yahoo Fantasy for being our sponsor. They've been our sponsor all season long, and they have a tremendous giveaway offer, I should say, that we'll talk about a little bit later. But thank you to Yahoo Fantasy. And if you guys could throw us a thumbs up before we get too far along in here. I see about 40 people watching. Fewer than half those thumbs. Give us a thumbs up if you couldn't. Click that subscribe button so that you can follow along with all our DFS offers, giveaways, videos, whatever else we have going on here at Awesemo. All right, let's talk about last night's slate real quick. Actually, we should jump all the way back to Tuesday. Tuesday night was one of the big DK nights of the year, the big 44 energy line. None of us won it. It was won by a guy we know, Matt Moody. Congrats to him. You and I had a decent night, both finished inside the top 10. Why don't you take us through how that night went for you, kind of your process maybe to get to that one lineup maybe, and how, how happy you were with the result.
Yeah, I mean, on a huge slate like that, it is very, very difficult to get down to one lineup. So what I try to do is I try to avoid going 4-3-1, like the normal build, like the standard build for hockey lineups. So I didn't really take ownership into account. I did a 3-3-2. I had 3 forwards from one team. The other 3 was 2 forwards and a defenseman. And I had a one-off forward with a defenseman. And I ended up going, who did I go? Oh, I went Dallas 1. I went Joel Eriksson, Ek, Fiala, Spurgeon. And then my one-off was Huberdeau with, at Awesemo.com, we love a good ass, Radko good ass. And I ended up getting pretty lucky because I got Huberdeau, Radko Gudas, and Spurgeon all hit the block bonus like immediately. Huberdeau had the best game of anyone on Florida 1 because Barkov got hurt. Minnesota got absolutely destroyed, but Eriksson Ek had a goal from Fiala, so I got pretty lucky there. And then, Dallas did the thing. We got a little unlucky on the empty net there. I know you had Dallas 1 as well, but Robertson ended up hitting it for the 3-point bonus. So overall, it was a pretty good night. Could have been better, but like we talk about, sometimes those margins are razor thin, and it didn't exactly go our way, but we still both got a top 10 finish despite only having, we were like 0.2 apart in our lineups. We only had 3 of the same players, but we were pretty much on the same teams.
Yeah, I was on Florida and Dallas, and yeah, Barkov got hurt, and that kind of hurt me. That kind of hurt my lineup. Him and Anthony Duclair combined for 13 points. You're not going to win a ton of tournaments when that happens, but Carter Hart really came through for me, and that's where you goaltending and defenseman, you can't just throw in names just because I guess you can be just because they fit, but there should actually be some sort of process to picking your defensemen and goalies. They're as important as your forwards. Like without that Carter Hart night for me, I finished way down the list. So you do have to get a bit lucky to win. Like you want to finish at the top of these things, but you do have to get a bit lucky. But we'll take our 4 or 5x or whatever it was and we'll move right along. Last night, not a bad night. I think kind of went as expected. I got cleaned out in cash games actually, but I did pretty well in GPPs because I had Samsonov, Carlson one off, and then, Colorado stacks. So I did well enough last night. How'd you do?
I started off pretty good. I had Colorado, but then, Kings looked like absolute trash. So ended up pulling a Jake Hari and Michael Clifford and went to sleep early.
Yeah, that's something that I advocate a lot of, is that, if you get through the first 2 or 3 hours of the games and your lineups really aren't looking that good, there's not really, like, unless sometimes I'll stay up and watch a game if there's a game I want to watch, but I'm not going to punish myself and watch all my teams just fall further and further out of the money. I'm going to, watch a movie or something. Don't be afraid to watch a movie late at night rather than Ducks Sharks or something like that. It's good for your mental health, believe me. But we do have a bunch of games that we have to get to today. Before we get too much further, I'd like you to subscribe, will help us. And we have a lot of free premium tools and data up on the site today, like we do usually. But today especially, we have Thursday night football projections, NBA ownership rankings, and NHL ownership projections. So we have 3 sports covered for you here tonight. And if you're playing NBA DFS, be sure to check out Adam Scherr's NBA Deep Dive article, which is the most in-depth and free NBA DFS article that you can find anywhere. All right. This first game we have to get to is Calgary with a 3.1 implied goal total. They're going into Buffalo. The Sabres have a 2.4 implied goal total. There's not a whole lot to mention here. I think one big lineup change is that Michael Backlund was moved to the second line for Calgary in place of Sean Monahan. Sean Monahan moved down to the third line. So Backlund, Mangiapane, Coleman as a third line for Calgary. That kind of looks appealing to me, but I get that there's going to be value and ownership probably up and down this entire Calgary lineup. So what do you like here, Josh?
Yeah, so initially in the morning, I was kind of on Calgary one here, and then we started discussing before the show that the Sabres took off the Dylan Cousins matchup off the top comp, and for a good part of the game, last game against the Leafs, the Sabres sent out Tage Thompson-Skinner against Matthews. And if that's going to be the case, the Tage Thompson-Skinner line is their only good defensive line, and they have very good defensive numbers this year. So it kind of takes me out in 1-3 on Calgary 1. Like, listen, yeah, the Sabres are still not a great team, but that line has above average defensive numbers. But if you want to get them in GPPs, 20 max, 150, that's fine. 1-3, I think I'm going to take a pass. Where I'm focusing on is Calgary 2, Coleman, Backlund, Mangiapane. If you want to, just do like a power play 2 stack, Backlund, Mangiapane, and I forget it. Oh, Shillington, it's pronounced. Oliver Shillington, I was told. So that is a nice little 3-man to get some power play correlation. So that's where I'm at with Calgary. On the Buffalo side, 2.4 total at home. Not really interested, especially if Tage Thompson's going to go out against Lindholm Kachuk. I'm just going to take me out on them, and there isn't much else down the lineup that I want to play.
Yeah, Calgary 2 is what stood out to me in this game. Like, I like that line when Monahan was there. I like that line, honestly, even better with Michael Backlund there. I think they're probably similar players, and I think offensively and I think defensively, Backlund is just, even at this stage of his career, superior to Monahan. So that Calgary 2 line is what I'm looking for. I mean, the Calgary 2 numbers, when looking at just Coleman and Mangiapane, 2.1 expected goals for, 1.1 expected goals against, like 64% shot share. These guys are just running the table. And with Buffalo's top line off the ice, the rest of the lines are just struggling defensively. I think that's kind of expected. Like, it was nice to see Buffalo have a strong, first three or 4 weeks of the season, but this team just doesn't have the depth to skate with a contender like Calgary. So, like, I'm like you, if people want to play your Calgary 1s and your 20 max, your 150 max or whatever, absolutely go ahead. But Calgary 2 is where I'm focusing in particular for this game. Add in Shillington for that additional power play exposure. Don't mind that. Shillington's looked really good this year. Like, he's a guy that was supposed to be a big prospect defenseman for them, like, middle of the first round type defenseman when he was drafted. fell to the second round, but he's still supposed to be a good offensive guy. Maybe it just took 3 or 4 years to bring it around. So I do like that Calgary 2 stack. Nothing for me on the Buffalo side. I think this is just an awful, awful matchup. Like if you want to, the one guy I'd highlight is Arttu Ruotsalainen, 2,500 stone min price, top power play, got moved there for Buffalo. That's basically all I'm looking at for the Sabres. On the blue line, like correlating Anderson with the top line, Shillington with the second pair. I think that's kind of it.
Yeah, that's it for me. I have no interest on the Buffalo guys. I guess like Mark Pysyk, if you like someone puts a gun to your head and say, put a Sabre in your lineup, I think would be Mark Pysyk.
I mean, and Tokarski 6,700 absolutely has to be in play for us.
Yeah, there's a goalie pricing tonight is crazy on DraftKings, 6,700 to 8,700. There's so many guys, but these cheap guys, there's a bunch of cheap guys that I like tonight just from shot volume. So Tokarski coming off a great game, lots of saves. He's going to see some shots again, so you have to put him in your consideration.
I mean, let's face it, like Tokarski hasn't been bad, really, right? Like he has 21 games with the Sabres and a 910 save percentage. That's not awful. That's about league average. So, if you can keep that up, maybe you can stymie Calgary a little bit here tonight. All right, let's move it along. New York Rangers, 2.5 implied goal total. They're going into Toronto. The Leafs have a 3.1 implied goal total. I was looking over some ownership numbers earlier, and, Matthews is high, probably around 15%, but that's basically the only guy from the Leafs that we have in double digits. So Matthews is going to carry ownership. He always carries ownership, but it doesn't look like the Leafs are really going to be, super chalky here tonight. So what do you think about this game, Josh?
So Igor is one of those cheap goalies that's definitely going to be in consideration tonight. He's 6,800, but we'll get to that in a second. So the way the Leafs match up at home, they're going to send Tavares Nylander out against Zibanejad, and Matthews Marner is going to get Strome Panarin. Now, Strome Panarin may be average defensively, and it's an okay matchup, but Kreider, Zibanejad, and Gaudreau have been awful. You can go look up the numbers. I'll spare you. We don't want to scare people away. So I really like.
I got them actually 34% shot share, 34%.
Yeah, that's atrocious. Atrocious. So I really do like the Kerfoot Tavares Nylander line. Nylander, the best Leaf. I feel like Hulk Thor when he gets on in Thor Ragnarok when he gets on the Avengers thing. Thor, the best Avenger. But Nylander, favorite Leaf. If you want to go Matthews, Marner, Richie, not going to talk you off of it, but they do get the worst matchup in Panarin, Strome, Kakko. Marner, whatever, with Matthews. You want to do it. Like Nick Ritchie, sure. I don't know. Just not a fan of that iteration of the line. Put Andre Kasha up there, put Bunting up there. Bunting, Matthews, Marner, or Bunting, Matthews, Nylander, they have ridiculous expected goal numbers together, and they broke them up before they could actually get going. But for me, this is a Toronto 2 game. And on the Rangers side, I'm not super thrilled about anything on the Rangers side, but, with the line being Richie, Matthews, Marner, I think you can get to some Panarin, Strome, Kakko in, MME. In 1 to 3, I'm probably going to be out on the Rangers. So Toronto 2 for me. I'll have some Toronto 1 and MME. You can even power play stack as well.
I absolutely love Toronto here today. They're one of my favorite stacks. And it's the Toronto 2 line I'm actually looking at. It's Tavares going into that Zibanejad matchup that you talked about. It's just too good of a matchup to pass up. 34% shot share, and we're not talking a small sample anymore. We're getting up near 70 minutes. And Zibanejad struggled last year too. I know he came on, scored a ton of goals in the second half of the season.
The Flyers, 3 games,
exactly.
20 goals.
Other than that, the defensive numbers weren't great. And Barclay Goodrow, a good depth piece. He's not a first line winger. I'm sorry. So I think it's a really good matchup for that Tavares line going into the New York Rangers. And the Rangers penalty kill is not good either, right? It's been mediocre to bad for most of the season. It's just been bad for the last few weeks, bottom 5 by shot share, bottom 5 by goals allowed and things like that. Just a bad penalty kill.
Getting bailed out by Igor big time.
Yeah, and the Toronto power play is really starting to turn it around. They had generally had high shot rates all season, and high expected goals rates, but they weren't scoring. Well, they're scoring now. Second in scoring on the power play for the month of November per 60 minutes. So the Tavares line is where I'm focusing here for Toronto. Any sort of power play stack for Toronto, I think, is just fine. I think that's a real good way to attack the Rangers here tonight. I know what's scaring me is Shesterkin, right? I think he's arguably the best goalie in hockey now. He's probably in the conversation for amongst the 4 or 5 guys. That's what's worrying me here. So it's why I probably won't have like 30 to 40% Toronto, either Toronto 1, Toronto 2. I'll probably keep it closer to 20%, but I do like them. On the Rangers side, I'm out on this Banijad line. I can get in on the Kako line. They have been better. I think that's the one bright spot for the Rangers is Kako, Panarin, and Strome. Ever since Kako came back like 4 or 5 games ago or whatever it was, that line has looked good. Probably their best line. I just don't know if I want to stack that line 2.5 total going into Toronto where the Leafs don't take a ton of penalties and all that anyway. I think I'd probably stay away from the Rangers here, at least stacking wise. So Toronto's second line is where I'm focusing. Anything Toronto top 6 is fine, but it's the second line. That is my focus here. On the blue line, we always talk crap about Morgan Riley, and he's not a guy I want to play, but it is a good special team matchup for Toronto. So it's one of those things like if you have the salary, go ahead. But like if you have like Matthews and Tavares in, I'm assuming you probably don't. So Riley's not a priority play for me. There aren't any priority plays on the Rangers side either. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean Muzzin maybe at 3,300. Keandre Miller min price, but like I'm not going out of my way to get these guys in my lineup tonight.
Yep, I completely agree with that. Get access to all the great Awesemo Plus tools and content for nearly every DFS sport out there with an Awesemo Plus weekly pass for $29.95. This includes full access to all the premium content and tools on Awesemo.com, including our player projections, ownership projections, lineup builder, and a whole lot more. Of course, if you're only interested in playing NHL DFS, then you can sign up for an Awesemo Plus NHL package for as low as $3.95 right now. We also have a special going on for our college basketball DFS projections. Your first week is only $5 when you use the promo code Coach K, all caps, all one word. That's Coach K, COACHK, for your first week of Awesemo Plus college basketball for only $5. You can activate that coupon by clicking the link in the description of the video below. This offer is only valid through Saturday, November 20th, so 2 days from now. You better get on that if you want to get in on some college basketball. Stop guessing, start winning. Join Awesemo Plus today. All caps, all one word, Coach K, for your first week of Awesemo Plus college basketball DFS for only $5. All right, let's keep it moving to the next set of games. Pittsburgh, 3.0 implied goal total. They're going into Montreal. The Habs have a 2.6 implied goal total. The big news in this game is Cole Caulfield is back from Montreal, but he was called up from the AHL and they didn't have morning skates, so we're not going to get lines until warm-ups. My feeling on this is they didn't call up Cole Caulfield to stick him on the third line with Jake Evans. You know, maybe they do because I don't have a lot of faith in this coaching staff, but I can't fathom that that's the actual reason. So I'm assuming the top line is Toffoli, Suzuki, Caulfield, The second line stays the same, and then Gallagher moves down to the third line with Evans, and then one of Armia or Lehkonen, I assume Armia. So I think Caulfield is going to go to the top line with Suzuki and Toffoli, but that's just an educated guess on my part. We don't have any confirmation one way or the other. What do you think about this game, Josh?
I mean, in cash, it's interesting because if Caulfield, we get confirmations on the top line, he's min price. So just something to keep in mind. This is a 5.5 total, and there isn't much that I like, but what's drawing me to this game is the ownership on Pitt 1. They burned a lot of people on Tuesday night, but their ownership right now is coming in at 1.5%, and they're going to get the Drouin, Dvorak, Anderson line. And since the beginning of the season, that line has fallen off a cliff. They have very pedestrian numbers, 46% or 48% shot share, and they're not low event. They're not super high event, but they're not low event.
No.
So like I think Pitt 1 point, like I'm always against Pittsburgh 1 when they're chalk. I'm like, they're always higher owned than they should be. I want to fade them. But if they're going to come in fully correlated on the power play, 1.5%, yeah, if it moves up to 3-4, whatever. I want a shot at it. I know I just talked about, oh, Crosby's just coming back from COVID, this and that, but at that time he was projected at almost 20%. This is 1% Crosby. So I'm in on Pitt 1 tonight. Not too much that I like from a full stacking side on Montreal. Dvorak line I'm out on. They're going to get Crosby. Suzuki to Foley, either Gallagher or Caulfield is a bit interesting, but their ownership is way too high for me, like 9-10% going up against a good defensive team. Yeah, Tristan Jarry, not my favorite netminder in the NHL, but Pittsburgh is pretty good defensively. 2.6 total home worries me a bit. So I might take some one-off pieces here, like a Toffoli or Caulfield, depending where he is, but I don't think I'm going to full stack anything on Montreal.
Yeah, the thing with Montreal is that the Penguins don't take a lot of penalties. They're like 27th or 28th in time shorthanded this year. And they actually have a good penalty kill. Like, I think they're bottom 5 by goals against while on the penalty kill, like per 60 minutes. So this is a terrible special teams matchup for Montreal. Not that we, target them for their special teams, but it's a bad special teams matchup, and it's not a good 5-on-5 matchup. Like you mentioned, Pittsburgh has been pretty good defensively most of the season. So, like, I agree with you on the Habs. I'm not full stacking anything from their side. Like, I wouldn't say no to somebody stacking Suzuki, Toffoli, Caulfield, right? Like, that's going to be a relatively cheap stack. And I don't think a lot of people are going to be on Caulfield because they don't have confirmation on his line slotting, right? So I'm not going to say no. I just don't think it's a good matchup in any regard for Montreal. And with that total, I think there are just other spots I would rather go that are at similar prices. So I'm with you completely on this game. Pittsburgh won. I went into the slate assuming I wasn't going to play any Pittsburgh because, like you, I didn't think Crosby looked very good in their last game. And in fact, I looked at their expected goals numbers that game. They're down in the 20s or 30s. It was bad. But 3.0 on the road, perfectly correlated. Montreal is 7th in time shorthanded on the season, and their penalty kill isn't really anything to write home about, like mid-pack at best. Like, Pittsburgh could do some real damage here tonight. So I do like them as play them in your 20 maxes. I'd even, in your 1 to 3, I think they're even fine as well. I do like Pittsburgh 1 a lot here tonight. Pittsburgh 2 sticks out to me as well. Kapanen and Zucker have been really good together all season. I can't imagine Jeff Carter is going to make them worse. I just don't know if I want to dip down to that second line where the top line is so low owned, right? Like, if the top line was like 8, 9, 10%, that's one thing. Like, going from 2% of top line to a 0.5% second line, like, there's not much to gain there. So I'll just take that Pittsburgh top line and run. On the blue line, I did notice Jeff Petrie starting to shoot a little bit more, but I still don't want to play him at that price. I guess David Savard might run into $3 tonight, so he's in line for a block bonus. Anybody else stick out to you?
Not really. Like, Letang 7K. If I'm not going to one off Letang, but if you want to correlate in Pittsburgh 1 stacks, it's a little pricey, but I guess that's fine. Nothing really else sticking out for me though.
All right, let's move it along then. Our next game is the New Jersey Devils going into Florida. The Devils have a 2.5 implied goal total. Florida, one of the higher totals on the night, sitting with a 3.4, despite the fact that Alexander Barkov is going to be out for tonight, out for the next little while, it seems. They said week to week, I think, with a knee injury. He got injured in the last game. We talked about that earlier. So Sam Bennett moves up to the top line for Florida, and Anton Lundell is now on the second line for Florida with Carter Verhaeghe and Sam Reinhart. Those top sixes on both sides are kind of interesting to me. So I'm just going to let you take it away.
Yeah. Excuse me. I don't know what's going on there, but Barkov being out, putting our boy Sammy B at the top line is interesting. They're probably going to get the Nico Hischier matchup, and that line has been actually really good defensively. So it does worry me, and they're projected to be 12-13%. So in GPPs, I don't know if I'm going to be getting too much Florida here. The ownership does scare me a little bit. Going into a good defensive line, it's weird too, because like the Devils spend a lot of time shorthanded, but they have a good penalty kill. So it's kind of like a double-edged sword here. So that coupled with the ownership is going to take me. I'm going to be under the field on Florida 1. If you want to go to Florida 2, I don't know if I'd full stack, but I think, Sam Reinhart's an interesting one off on the power play at 3,800. On the Devil side, I think, you see these top 6 ownership percentages. They're both about the same at 1.5%. I think what I want to do is go to that second line. They have very good numbers. Dawson Mercer does not look out of place at all. Like, I thought, he was just another guy. He's not ready to come up yet. He looks great. Jesper Bratt looks good. Andreas Janssen doesn't look lost like he did last season. So I can see myself getting to some New Jersey too here. They're going to get, Lundell, Verhaeghe, Reinhart. And yeah, Reinhart, Verhaeghe, like Reinhart's a good offensive player, but I don't think he's very good defensively. Lundell's a rookie. He's supposedly going to be really good, but I don't know if he's there yet. So there's something to get out of this game. I think it's going to be New Jersey too. And I do like some pieces of Florida 1, especially in cash, especially like Duclair being moved up to the top power play is nice. I just, their ownership does worry me a lot in GPPs.
Yeah, it is high ownership, double digits, especially for not having Barkov. Like we're Sam Bennett fans. This is a Sam Bennett video show and podcast, but he's not Alexander Barkov. Like, let's just be honest about that. Like, Barkov is truly one of the best centers in the league, and Bennett is good. He's just not Barkov. So like, it does worry me, but Bennett and Huberdeau do have a history of success together, and that top line being perfectly correlated, I think. I'm probably going to come in right about the field with the Panthers. Usually when I 20 max, I'll try to double the field. Like, if it's an 8% line, I'll go 50%. If it's a 10% line, I'll go 20% or something like that. Here, I'm probably just going to come in at like 15%, 3 out of 20 lineups or something like that. And if I hit it, I hit it. If I don't, I don't, because I think the special teams matchup is going to draw people here because New Jersey does take a lot of penalties. But, sorry, somebody sent me a message that threw me through a loop. New Jersey does take a lot of penalties, but like you said, they are very good on the penalty kills. So I don't think you have to jam in Florida. Like, in your 1 to 3, I think it's fine to not play them. You don't have to play them. I'm probably going to get them in my 20 max. Like I said, I'm probably going to come in on the field. And if I nail the right lineup, I nail it. If I don't, I don't. I do like that New Jersey second line. I'm with you. Their numbers, 3.3 expected goals per 60 minutes. I think their shot share is still north of 60% or right around 60%. So very, very good. And the Florida Panthers, they take their fair share amount of penalties as well. So, Janssen Bratt 2-man with a Ty Smith on the blue line or something like that, I think it's just fine. On the blue line, I noticed Ryan Gray's price has come down. Not a lot, but he's 4,900. I think it's, you can consider him at that price finally. Uyghur's always in play for us at 4,500, and the good ass always in play for us at 3,100. Anybody else?
Not really. There's so many people priced around 3 to 3.5K tonight that you can play. It's just, it's more like find something in your preference that you like and play them.
All right. Find your own preferences. I like that. That's good advice just for life in general. We have partnered with Yahoo Fantasy this NHL season to bring you some great offers. Check out our exclusive limited time offer, which gets you 1 free month of Awesemo Plus Platinum. To qualify, you need to be new to Yahoo, sign up for an account via the link below, deposit and play. That's it. Yahoo will send us your name after you play in your first paid contest, and we will reach out via email with your coupon. If you need immediate access, email support@awesemo.com and we'll get you set up right away. You can also claim a free $10 below, which can be used to enter any Yahoo contest. Make sure to use our DFS tools and projections designed specifically for Yahoo to give yourself the best shot at winning big. See a couple people in chat say no Barkov, no dice. I can't really disagree with that. That's not something I can disagree with. But thanks again to Yahoo. Let's move it along to the next game. Tampa Bay Lightning, 2.9 implied goal total. They're going into Philly. The Flyers have a 2.7 implied goal total. I guess the note from this game is we don't know really what the Flyers lines are going to be like. They changed them up last game. Coach Alain Vigneault said maybe there's a guy like a game time decision or something like that, so he's not going to offer any of the lineup. The top line was broken up last game for the first time all season. Couturier and Giroux were broken up. but they did leave the second line together. The Hayes, Farabee, Atkinson line skated the entire game together, and that's kind of interesting for me for a number of reasons. I want to get your thoughts on this game, though, Josh.
Yeah, this it's just hard for me to prioritize anything from this game. One, the Flyers with AV, just a clown show, like with the lines, like not an AV guy.
I am sick of this guy. I am so sick of this guy.
Oh. Anyway, it's going to be tough for me to get to Tampa 1 just because, like, I'm not sure it matters who Couturier has on the wings. Like, he's just that good as long as he's healthy. I mean, obviously, if it's like Zach McEwen and Travis Sanheim on his wings, I don't know why they do that, but like,
you don't know why AV would do that? I know why AV would do that.
Yeah,
because he's AV.
Yeah, but you know, as long as Couturier has solid line mates, I'm probably not going to be on Tampa 1. If you want to get them in MME, 2150, I think that's fine. They're fully correlated on the power play. Where I'm interested in this game is Flyers second line. I'm going to attack Steven Stamkos until they move him back to the wing. Yeah, the Hayes, Atkinson, Farabee line doesn't have great numbers, but like Hayes just came back. He looked decent the other night. They're cheap. They have no ownership. They're going to get Stamkos. Yeah, Vasilevsky's there, and yeah, Tampa blue line supposedly pretty good, but this isn't the Tampa team from 2 years ago. They're not cup contenders. They can be had. I'm not saying go crazy with the Flyers here tonight on a 2.7, but at under 1%, you don't have to get much to get over the field. And I love attacking Stamkos. So for me, Flyers second line and Tampa 1 in MME, but nothing in 1 to 3. I don't believe.
Yeah, Clarence, Stamkos, Joseph, that second line you talk about, not a ton of minutes, 40 minutes, so maybe 4 games together. 36% shot share, 66 shot attempts against per 60 minutes, only 37 for. They're getting absolutely throttled. So I do like that Philly second line here tonight. Farabee, Hayes, Atkinson coming in with very little ownership. Obviously, just looking through our top stacks tool right now, they're coming in under 1%. They're going to be one of the filler lines that I use here tonight. I think Farabee and Atkinson are both 30 goal scorers like this year, like potential 30 goal scorers this year. And Kevin Hayes is a 50.2 way center. Like that's a good line to me. I think they're going to throttle Tampa 2 here tonight. So Philly second line is definitely one of the priorities for me tonight. I don't think I'm going to get to much else in this game other than that. I agree with you. I don't like Tampa 1 going into that matchup. We just talked about how bad Tampa 2 is, and like I'm not going down to Tampa 3 on the road on an 11-game slate. So that's about it for forwards for me out of this game. On the blue line, like, yeah, maybe you play your Yandel with your Philly ones, I guess, but there's just not a lot I like on this blue line, really on either side.
Yeah, it's just like I want to get behind Provorov at his price, but man, he's
just a block machine now.
He's just a big Mikey Anderson.
Oh, don't do that to me.
No, but like, oh man, he plays some empty. Like he's on the ice for 30 minutes, and he just like shoot the puck, please. Like Samheim and Ristolainen, I guess are okay if you like them. Sanheim's been shooting. Ristolainen had a decent game, but for me, like, there's not much on these blue lines. Like Tampa's blue line is a mess and a half right now.
Yeah, and it's just the pricing too, right? It's not like they're priced super reasonably. Hedman almost 8K, Sergachev almost 5K, McDonough north of 4. Like,
get out of here.
All right, San Jose 2.7 implied goal total. They're going into St. Louis. The Blues have a 3.2 implied goal total. I'm just going to let you take it away right away because one of my favorite lines on the entire slate is in this game.
I just want to thank Craig Berube for thinking about us DFS players. Thank you.
Very much appreciated.
Yeah, thank you, Craig. So O'Reilly, they reunited O'Reilly with Perron with Jordan Kyrou, and I like that line. They're going to get the Couture matchup. It's okay. You want to do that, but where I'm going, Pavel Buchnevich, pouring out for the homie. Rob Thomas and Vladimir Tarasenko. Like, I love that line. They're going to get the Hurdle matchup, which has been bad. Like, they have not been good this season. So I really, really like St. Louis 2 tonight. You know, you get Booch and Thomas, power play 2. You get Tank, power play 1. Their ownership's in check right now. Now that we're clamoring about them, it might come up, but it's still reasonable. So I do really like the Blues top 6 tonight. And, you know, I want to get behind the Sharks top line, but like when I found out Timo was back, I looked up their schedule. They just been having tough matchups for the whole week. Like, we're gonna have to wait till next week. Like, getting O'Reilly Perron, like, it doesn't scare me as much as going against Couturier or someone like that, or Boston 1. But like, O'Reilly Perron is just like a sludge fest. So I think I'm gonna save the Sharks for another day.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think either of the St. Louis top lines are fine. They're both in play for me. I haven't done my stacks. I haven't done my lineups yet, but they're definitely both in play. Especially where all 6 guys are on some mix of the 2 power play units, right? Like, you can kind of mix and match, or you can just full stack and you'll still get power play time regardless. And it's that second line that's drawing me. It's just the combination of the players, right? Like, Robert Thomas, not a goal scorer, but he's a very good in transition, very good playmaker. Vladimir Tarasenko, not that great defensively, but he's an absolute sniper and probably one of the greatest players below the blue line, one of the best wingers below the blue line in hockey. And then Pavel Buchnevich is just a solid two-way winger who can play good defensively and is good in transition. I'm sorry, I know that sucks to hear, man, but he is very good. I just think it's a good combination of skill sets on that line. So that's what's driving me more to that St. Louis second line. And, you know, ownership very well in check, 3.5%. Maybe it comes up to like 5% or something. I don't care. St. Louis 2, absolutely one of my favorite lines on the entire slate. I don't mind San Jose 2 here, but they have been playing a little bit better. I just don't see any real need to play them, especially where we have them coming in over owned for some reason. So St. Louis 2 is the only line for me out of this game. On the blue line, obviously Scott Perunovich is somebody that we have to keep in mind, but he got moved up to 3K. It's not just slamming the punt anymore. Anybody else stick out to you?
See, we got a super chat from our boy Nihas. Can you confirm if the deal is real tonight? You got to stop with James Neal, man. If you want to put him in on the power play stack, like, go for it. You want to leave Tank off and put James Neal on your Buchnevich Thomas for some power play 2 on this 11-game slate. Giddy up, cowboy, but it's not something I'm going to be doing.
Yeah, not like, I am a guy that does that. Like, I did that last year, Alex Chason in my Edmonton lineups, and it does work from time to time. Just realize that a ceiling game for Neal here is a goal, like a goal and 2 shots. You're getting 12 points or whatever from him. That's the most you can hope for. It, like, not going to say no, but it's just not something I would do. I don't think he's necessary here tonight. We have an Awesemo Hall of Fame here at Awesemo.com, where we like to celebrate all the people that have success. Doesn't matter if it's hundreds of thousands, tens of thousands, or just hundreds of dollars. We celebrate them all the same. And if you want to get into the Awesemo Hall of Fame, this is how you do it. You download the Awesemo avatar from awesemo.com/avatar. You place in the top 3 of a contest with over 5,000 contestants, and you tweet the wins to the Awesemo Hoff, that's Awesemo HOF account on Twitter. That's it. You can win a free month of Awesemo Plus Platinum, but please realize you can only win 1 free month every calendar year. And you'll see some of the shots from the Hall of Fame pulled up. We had a 6-figure hit not long ago from basketball over on somebody took down the monster over on FanDuel. So great job to Jordan Lockhart, Locks 262. But he won 6 figures, but then we see Pickens taking down what looks like the Daily Dime. We celebrate those wins as well for $25. It doesn't matter if you win thousands or hundreds, we will celebrate you. So the Awesemo Hall of Fame, just download the Awesemo profile pic at awesemo.com/avatar, and then tweet your wins to the Awesemo Hoff account. Just make sure you're top 3 in a contest with at least 5,000 people. All right, let's move this along. Dallas, 2.6 implied goal total. They're going into Minnesota. The Wild have a 3.9 implied goal total. Minnesota completely changed up their lines. They went back to a checking line of Jordan Greenway with Joel Eriksson Ek and Marcus Foligno. Probably the best checking line in hockey They're going to go up against the Hintz and Pavelski line. The second line is Zuccarello with Hartman and Fiala. And then the third line is Victor Rask, flanked by Freddie Gaudreau and Kirill Kaprizov. I think there's stuff to like up and down this Minnesota lineup, Josh. What do you like in this game?
Yeah. So that checking line is going to take me out on Dallas. Well, Dallas, they're going to get Dallas 1. It's taking me out on them. I was sad. I wanted to go back to my boy Rupe Fiasco, but we'll save it for another day. Man, I can't believe I like Ryan Hartman at center tonight. Like I like that line with Fiala and Zuccarello. I think Fiala and Zuccarello can pick Hartman up on their shoulders and carry him a little bit here. Like they're going to get a good matchup on Dallas. Like Dallas isn't very good. They're looking old. Maybe they get Sagan. Maybe they get, Jamie Benn, whatever it is. Like they're going to get an old, like, I think they'll be smart enough if they're going to send out a checking line against Hintz to keep their scorers away from Fasca. Like I would hope so. You hope so. So I think Fiala's going to get that line's going to get a pretty good matchup here. So I do like that Fiala, Hartman, Zuccarello line. If you want to one-off Kaprizov, I think that's okay. I just wish he wasn't with Victor Rask. That doesn't do anything for me. So really, this is a Minnesota 2 game for me. On the Dallas side, there's really not much there that I like. Maybe someone on the blue line, but I'm pretty much out on the skater, especially like we talk about not going against lines like Joel Eriksson Ek. It's not hyperbole. When he's with Foligno and Greenway, they are the best checking line in the NHL. Like it's not hyperbole. They are.
No, I have the numbers in front of me. 43 shot attempts against per 60 minutes, 1.2 expected goals against per 60 minutes, 1.3 actual goals against per 60 minutes. That's a goal every like 6 or 7 games against or something like that. It's absolutely crazy how good they are. So yeah, out on Dallas, like one way you could attack Minnesota is a power play stack from Dallas, but then you're just including a bunch of guys that are going into that even strength matchup, and you're really banking on at least 2 power play goals here. So I'm with you. I'm out on Dallas. Like if you want to one-off Heiskanen, I think Heiskanen makes a decent one-off here tonight. If they get it going, it's probably going to be because of him generating it from the blue line. So that's it for me from Dallas. On the Minnesota side, I agree with you on the second line. I also like the third line, and I think that one probably gets seriously overlooked here. I could see Freddie Gaudreau coming in at under 1% ownership or something like that. I don't think you have to full stack the line, but I do like any 2-mans from that third line. Even a Gaudreau, Kaprizov or something like that. I think it's just fine. Gaudreau is a much better player than people realize, and getting that depth, the depth stars matchups is going to be good for him. Again, on the blue line, I like Heiskanen. Minnesota, there's nobody that's really sticking out to me for super value. I do like that Dumba's price has started to come down. That seems reasonable as a one-off. What else do you think?
Yeah, I mean Spurgeon as well. I just it's not necessary. If they were cheaper, then I can get behind it. But if you like them, play them. They're just a little bit out of my price range for me.
All right. Let's keep it moving then. Winnipeg, 2.9 implied goal total. They're going at Edmonton. The Oilers have a 3.2 implied goal total. These two teams just faced off a couple nights ago, and I think it was very, very illustrative of how these games could go. Winnipeg won 5-2. Had the lead going into the third period, and then Edmonton just bang, couple Leon Draisaitl power play goals 90 seconds apart. That's something we talked about a couple days ago, is just how bad this Winnipeg penalty kill is, and that really makes Edmonton a dangerous team here. I mean, they're a dangerous team every night, but especially tonight.
Yeah, Edmonton power play stack is how I'm going to do this, because Draisaitl's not with McDavid right now, but that can change in an instant, especially at home. I get they try to him up on the road sometimes for matchup, to get Leon out against better matchup, but at home they can dictate matchups. And I think I would be shocked if they don't play at least half the game together tonight. That's just conjecture. I could be wrong.
It's just they always end up playing a bunch of shifts together anyway, right? McDavid will go out, and then Draisaitl will go out, and then McDavid will go out with Draisaitl or something like that. You know what I mean?
They just play so many minutes that it always just overlaps anyway. It's
yeah, when you play half the game, you're going to end up playing together at some point.
So yeah, I mean, Edmonton power play stack is how I'm going to attack this. For as good as Connor Hellebuck is, he can't save them. Their penalty kill. Paul Maurice, not really sure. He's not a very good defensive coach, but there's a lot to like on the other side here too. McDavid's going to get Scheifele, Ehlers, Kopp, and that kind of takes me out on them. If you want to get to them in some MME, that's fine. 1 to 3, it's going to be a no for me. But where I'm looking right now is Pierre-Luc Dubois, Kyle Connor, Blake Wheeler. Like Connor, I think, like I'm a huge Ehlers stan, and I think he's great. But like Kyle Connor is legitimately getting up into the top tier wingers in the NHL, and he is just not stop shooting the puck. Okay. And then, Pierre, you were telling me before the show about Pierre-Luc Dubois' shot rate, and they're going to get a good matchup here against Draisaitl, Yamamoto, Nugent Hopkins. They're just not good defensively. So I really like this Winnipeg 2 line tonight.
Yeah, I'm with you. And just to kind of illustrate just how good Dubois and Connor have been, I think it was since they returned from a road trip. It was a tweet I saw, I think from Chris Meany. He's a guy that does some NHL betting and stuff like that. He's like, Pierre-Luc Dubois is over 4 shots per game over his last 9 games or something like that. Kyle Connor's his shot rate has just exploded, but it should be noted Kyle Connor's shot rate has just been climbing every season for like 5 years. It's just the last couple seasons have been bigger jumps than the others, but it has been a steady progression. And like you said, they're going to get some good matchups against that second and third line from Edmonton. So I do like that Dubois Connor 2-man a lot here tonight. I think they've been great. Like, I think we kind of have to give Dubois, we talked about it earlier this season, give Dubois a break for that trade last season, and, in the middle of the COVID season, having a quarantine and that stuff. So I'll be going back in on the Winnipeg second line. You can full stack them. You can one off them. You can do whatever you want with them. But Connor, Dubois, and Wheeler is where I'm focusing in this game. But obviously the Edmonton power play is the soup du jour from this contest. On the blue line, not a whole lot that really sticks out to me other than correlating. Tyson Barrie's back to the top pair for Edmonton, which means he's back playing more than over 20 minutes a night, which means he's running the top power play, which means he's actually a legit consideration for this slate. Evan Bouchard moved down to the third pair. Man, that sucks.
Yeah, pour one out for the homie Bouchard. My dogs are going nuts because my son just went upstairs and we got a new dog. He named him Bacon Pie, and he's riling everyone up. But we got the Barks on Winnipeg too. Tyson Barrie on the top pair is good for Edmonton power play stacks, bad for them defensively. So Barrie, if you're power play stacking, Winnipeg 2 if you want to go against Barrie.
Yeah, but Winnipeg 2 if you want to go with the dogs as well, obviously. We have a handful of minutes left before we get out of here. If you guys could please like and subscribe. It really helps us look good for our bosses, and click that little bell for the notifications whenever we do go live. We have lots of shows all through the day, not just NHL, NFL, NBA. We'll talk about that in a second, but we do have more games to get to. Columbus 3.0 implied goal total. They're going in Arizona. The Yotes have a 2.5 implied goal total. Dmitry Yashkin, of course, out for Arizona for the rest of the year. I think you and I are both looking at kind of the same things in this game. So why don't you just take this away, Josh?
Yeah. You like Columbus too? All right. I like the Columbus top line tonight. Jenner, Bjorkstrand, Nyquist. Their numbers are absolutely silly. I'm sure you have them in front of you. They're very good. They're very pricey. Nyquist helps bring the cost down at $3K. So if you want to full stack them, you can. Arizona penalty kill is bad. Arizona, everything is bad. Everything is just bad. So I really do like Columbus tonight. If you like the Cylinder Voracek line, go to them. I have no problems there as well. I prefer the Jenner Bjorkstrand line. If you want a power play stack, like Jenner Bjorkstrand Voracek or Jenner Bjorkstrand Cylinder, I think that's fine. I'm out on the Coyotes.
Yeah, the only thing I'll say about Arizona is maybe Dyson Mayo. His price has come down a few $100s. If you want to try to lock in a block bonus, I guess he's a guy, but that's it for me from Arizona. On the Columbus side, like the Columbus top line is probably gonna get some of that Beagle, Eriksson, Roussel third line. I don't know if you guys have been looking at the Beagle, Eriksson, Roussel numbers, but Beagle and Eriksson together this year, under 30% expected goals, under 40% shot share. Beagle and Roussel, 45% shot share, 48% expected goals. They're going to get run over by that Columbus top line here tonight. And Arizona's penalty kill is just atrocious. Even as it's improved in November, it's still bottom 3, bottom 5 in hockey. It's just it's improved from last overall on the season. So I absolutely do love that Columbus top line. I know people are probably going to play either of the top, like I agree with you, either the first or second lines. I think people may gravitate a little bit more towards the second line because, Bjorkstrand's north of 7K now, and that is really expensive for a Columbus skater on the road. So like him and Werenski is over 14K to stack the two of them. So I think people are going to stay away from that stack. And that's probably the stack that I'm going to go to. So like a Jenner, Bjorkstrand, Werenski or something like that. That's where I'm focusing on this game. Obviously, I do like Werenski on the blue line, but he's a little expensive. So maybe Jake Bean, 3,500. What do you think?
Yeah, Werenski, if you can fit him. Bean, I like as well. On the Coyotes side, I agree with you with Dyson Mayo for the block shots. That's about it. Like Chikrin, 6,400 is too much.
All right, let's move it along. Detroit, 2.5 implied goal total. They're going to Vegas. The Vegas Golden Knights have a 3.1 implied goal total. Pretty much status quo from Vegas. Still the guys hurt, still the guys in COVID protocol. Doesn't look like anybody in or out of the lineup that I saw, unless I missed something. So just going to ask you what you straight up like from this game, Josh.
I like Detroit 2. I also like Vegas 1, but of course they're over-owned. Drives me nuts that a Vegas line is always over-owned, and but it's fine. I think this is a really good spot. Dadonov up to 3,700. He's up $1,000 from the other night. They're going to get the Larkin line, and that is very high event. So I can get behind Vegas 1 for sure. You want to go to Vegas 2 for some power play 2. It does worry me a little bit. Their ownership is high too. So, and I like Detroit 2 a little bit here tonight. Pius Suter, Zadina's 2-man. They're coming in around 1.5%. There's 6,000 for the two of them. Get you some power play stacks in there. So Detroit 2, Vegas 1. You want to have some Detroit 1 for some FOMO and MME, go for it, but it's not something I'm going to do.
Yeah. Both the Detroit top, I like the Detroit side of this game better than the Vegas side. I honestly do. Both teams have been very high event, but I see more, I can't believe I'm saying this. I see more skill in the Detroit top 6 right now than I do the Vegas top 6. Vegas just is still injured. They need their guys healthy. That's the problem. So I really do like Detroit's top line here tonight. Larkin, Bertuzzi, Raymond, no ownership, by the way, none, 0.1%. Do like them a lot. And then the second line is one of my favorite filler lines on the night. So I'm with you. I'm all over both the top line and the second line. It's going to be a high event game. So I think don't mind them trading chances here. We only have a couple minutes left. Before we get out of here, just want to remind everybody that we have the Yahoo NFL Thursday Night Live show coming up next with Kaufman and Greg, and then the Jock Market NFL Thursday Night show coming up after them. And then later on, of course, we have our NBA double dose of the deeper dive, and then live before lock starting at 5:30 Eastern. All right, last game to get to. Carolina is going into Anaheim. Carolina is a 2.9 implied goal total. Anaheim has a 2.6 implied goal total. I think it's going to be Anaheim 1 against Carolina 1, and that kind of takes both top lines out of the mix for me. Anaheim 2 and 3 have been just getting absolutely Darth Vader choked this entire season. I love the Carolina second line here tonight. I don't even mind the Carolina third line. What do you like, Josh?
Yeah, on the Carolina third line, if you want to get, Stahl Niederreiter in there to get your power play stacks, and I think that's perfectly acceptable. But my focus here is on Carolina 2, Teravainen, Trocheck. Netchus, I think they're going to run over whoever they get, Zegras, Milano Cookies, or Mason McTavish, Lundstrom. There's just nothing there. So Carolina 2 for me. Something to keep in mind going forward, Zegras Milano actually has pretty good numbers together, but until Dinosauritis, whatever his name is, leaves that line, I'm probably going to pass on the Ducks. And Troy Terry cannot keep scoring like this. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's the thing with Anaheim's with Delorier. He's just dragging down that entire line, and it's a 45% line. They could probably be break even without him, but they won't be. So yeah, Carolina 2. Absolutely love that matchup. All right, we got to get out of here. Josh, I'm going to ask you for your hat trick pick and your goalies. My goalies for tonight, Gibson and Blackwood, and my hat trick pick is Jonathan Tavares. Who you got?
I also like Gibson. I also like Igor. Blackwood is fine, I think, in correlated Devils lineups. And my hat trick pick is Vladimir Tarasenko.
All right, there you go. Tarasenko and John Tavares are your hat trick picks. We got to get out of here. We will be back Saturday morning with a show. No show tomorrow on Friday. For producer Mike, for Josh and Bacon Pie, this is Michael Clifford, aka Slim Cliffy, saying good luck tonight, everybody.